And one personal experience for me was my sophomore year. My uncle, who was my mom's brother, was diagnosed with colon cancer, going through chemo, everything that you're going to do. My He played high school football at the same high school I was going at, playing football. He was very happy about it. Um, I think it was the spring of my sophomore year or going to the summer of my junior year. They said he was fine. They always say that like he's in remission, the cancer's gone, everything else. And then going into fall camp, two a days back in the day, it had come back. It came back with a vengeance. And so we're going into the season. We're 2 or 3 games in. It's bad. It's getting worse. And it came down to a point where it wasn't if he was going to go, it was a matter of when. It bothered my mother. And so it bothers me, of course. And so my mind wasn't all there as a junior in high school. Your mind's kind of scatterbrained a little bit, but sports was the way to get out of it. Me and my head coach communicated. He communicated to the other coaches, my offensive line coach, everything else. And there was a game, I'm starting left tackle. There is a game that we should probably be winning by a lot, just by principle of the players we had, the program we had versus their program. No offense to them because their coaches were doing the best they could. But at that point in the season, we should be winning. But I think we were only winning like my mind's going 14-0. It's 14-0. And we had a rule that when you come off the field going into our locker room at halftime, you kept your helmet on. And that way nobody has the opportunity to hit you with something or do anything like that. Not that it would, it's a small town, very small town. Like that's not going to happen. But we go in and we have lockers where you could sit, like a chair's in there. You can pull the chair out, sit in the locker. You could put the helmet above. It has a lock above it. My locker was to the left. It's probably 6 to 8 down. I had my helmet on. We turned the corner. I'm not even to the locker room. I barely unbuckled my helmet. All of a sudden, the offensive coordinator come busting in and is just yelling at us about what's been going on with the offense. Why are we only up 14 points? We're only up 14 nothing. We need to be up 28 nothing, 30 nothing. Like this is the type of mentality we had. And is just yelling, yelling, yelling. Comes over to me and starts yelling and says, the reason why we're not up by more points is because of you. Now I'm a starting left tackle. You don't, first of all, you don't blame any kid for not being up, but then to blame an offensive tackle, like that's crazy. So he starts yelling about why it's big on me, why we're not up and everything else. And before any word could get out of my mouth to defend everything, he then says, I don't care what's going on in your life. I don't care what's going on with any family member, hinting at my mom's brother who was dying. It was going to be a matter of not if, but when. So then, before I could really do what I wanted to do as a 16, 17-year-old kid, I see a hand come flying over, grabs this guy, and throws him. It's the head football coach that throws him and says, get your ass in that office. You will never speak to a player like that ever again. Get in that coach's office. And he throws him into that coach's office, and they go in there and they go at it. And the offensive line coach comes over and talks to me. I had some players come over and talk to me. And shortly after that game, mom's brother passes away. Um, Funny note, I have a Live Strong band. I was wearing this when he passed, and I've never taken it off. I was a junior in high school, 16, 17 years old. I'm 32. Still got it. And I thought about it as I was not quite at that moment, but as you're going to coach and you go, there are coaches like that treat players like that. Like, how can you go up to a kid that's 16, 17 years old and you don't care about what they're going through? You don't care someone in their family's dying. And athletes are getting treated that way. Kids are getting treated that way. And so I said, okay, I got to make sure that that never happens. I got to make sure that kids are loved. And yeah, I'll be tough on them. If they don't like me after that, fine. We don't have to speak ever again. but I'm going to treat you guys the same. And if you have the same ambitions as I do and can see where I'm going, you're going to get more out of me. And I'm going to make sure that coaches that I'm around don't do that to you. My head coach came up to me and said, he's not going to talk to you again. Like you're going to report to me and the offensive coordinator. And that's another part that I knew that my head coach, was there for me.